Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Hopefully you had a happy Thanksgiving or able to spend some time with family and friends in this crazy environment where we're not allowed to get together in large groups, but hopefully you made the best of it. Hopefully you had a good day off if you were fortunate enough to be off for the day. And today kind of starts the uh, back at it sort of scenario, at least for the market. It's kind of a half day, but on a personal front, in addition to, of course, the morning briefs that I run every day that the market's open, today I'm running my first ever youth investing program. I call it the U20. My daughter and her friend came up with that. So the U20 investment forum, where I have 8 local high school kids, all of which are really pretty a phenomenal bunch that are coming on as a forum. And again, it will be a Zoom webinar just like this one, same setup with the chat room and the Q&A, except for a bunch of high school folks, and then have a few of them up on screen with me. So that's at 10 o'clock. It's all over my social media. If you're interested, go ahead and check out the link and then stop on by. All right, if you're catching this on what we're going to talk about today in the show for this morning is we're going to talk about video games, and we're going into the Christmas season. So video games are generally the whole space is generally a pretty good investment through the Christmas season on into the first quarter. And what's different for this year is even more so than normal. We're kind of tied around being around the house. So maybe that leads to a boost in these names. Obviously, when we get to the charts, you'll see that they've already shot up a little bit, but I still think there's more room to run, and I like several of them that are out there. So that's what we have for our show today. If you want to catch us on replay, go ahead and subscribe to make sure you get notifications on a daily basis. And if you want to join us live, only $25 to come on into the room and be able to converse with us through the chat room and the Q&A session. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, good morning again. Here's our overview for the day. Make sure that you have your chat window open as well as your Q&A open as well, set up appropriately. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education briefing, so you have to do your own due diligence for acting on anything that you hear in this presentation. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, with our mission objectives, we're going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. But today we're kind of talking about growing our money with video game investing. And like I said in the open, now is kind of a good time for that. And I also think it's a good long-term theme. I think I don't play any of these video games. I do plan on getting a PlayStation 5 here shortly once I can get my hands on one. So I might get into a little bit more through my daughters. Not personally interested in it myself, but I'll play with them. That'll be kind of fun, I think, and we'll see what's out there. But I do know that I was looking up office chairs because I want to get a new one, and I found a gaming chair website, and you can pay upwards of like $700 for these gaming chairs. So a lot of money in the space. And I'm sure I think it's only going to continue. There's also the AR, VR theme, augmented reality, virtual reality that is taking the games to the next level as well. Okay, question of the day. We're not going to have one. I'm going to be off air as soon as we're done trading so I can get set up for the young adult investing forum, which again will be about an hour after I am off air here. Okay, for the flow today, it's going to be long, short, open, short, long. We're going to do a market review of the headlines. Again, a big headline that's out there, an off-the-cuff comment from the president that kind of all of us have been waiting for, but we'll cover that in a second. Headline review, standard, long-term investments. Those are the names we'll take a look at. We got Sony, Activision, Take-Two Interactive, Electronic Arts, 10-cent holdings, which is a little bit of a derivative kind of play since it's a holding company. And then lastly, ESPO, which is simply just an esports index fund. There's also Hero. I like them both. I kind of view them interchangeable. I keep waiting for one of them to pop out best of breed, but they're almost mirror images of each other. But those are the ones we'll take a look at. We'll do some short-term market execution at the open. There are a few names in the move on the move this morning. One of them was GameStop, but not enough to invest in. But LCA long, you can see that in the chat there, and then short for work. Big merger news yesterday. It was up like 40% on potentially being Slack being eventually bought by CRM, Salesforce.com. And then we have Geos, which I'll have to take a look at the chart on that to see if the volume is there. All right, let's go ahead and let's see, contingencies. Make sure you contact me at Steve at OTOT now if you're having any issues with the morning brief. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our headlines. So there you can see that the futures are up. Again, lighter volume. I see your comment there, Jumper. Lighter volume. Yeah, well, maybe we shall see. Oh, lower volume. I think you're talking about the not volume in the market, but volume on the video. I hear you there. That's funny. All right. So let's go back to the headlines here. We see we're in the green, and looking around the world, in Europe is pretty well split. Here's our numbers from Wednesday now, so 2 days ago, where the tech was up. Tech's been kind of on fire, and then everything else was selling off just a little bit. Not a big deal, though. Asia in the green across the board. Bonds pretty much close to normal. Oil still above that 45 point, so 45 price point. We like that. Gold and silver continue to kind of sell off. That's picking up now, 2% and 4% off from where they were. If you remember, gold was up around 2000. So if you're the person who bought gold going into the election thinking there would be volatility, you were wrong, and you should have exited this trade by now. That's the problem with sometimes when you pick things up for a specific reason and the reason doesn't happen, then you have to remember to sell out there. Okay. Let's see, Bitcoin. Let's check on Bitcoin. Down a little bit from where it was. It's actually down quite a bit. Don't know if I trust that number. I thought it was a lot closer to 20,000. So we shall see. All right, let's take a look at the headlines today. The biggest headline right here: will Donald Trump leave the White House if the Electoral College elects Joe Biden? And he said in an off-the-cuff comment, of course, and you knew I would. Well, that's good to hear, Mr. President, because the keeping the democracy or Democratic Republic, however, if you want to get particular, intact is a little more important than anybody's particular agenda. So that was good news for everybody. So I think the markets will be celebrating that as well. Okay, so we have AstraZeneca, the new vaccine that's out. Again, that was earlier this week that was talked about. That's the one that's refrigerated at room temperature, or stored at refrigeration temperatures versus frozen temperatures. Black Friday, there is some stuff going on. Largely, I think it's going to be nothing. It's been kind of Black Friday week already. Retailers started early. We haven't bought anything yet, at least I know about, but we'll see. We'll see how what the Black Friday numbers come in. Okay, well, trust the numbers, right? Bitcoin plunges by nearly 3,000 after closing in on its all-time record. So trust the numbers when you see them on CNBC, is I guess. But also, I guess it's good for you to think of also common sense. If you see something that doesn't really make sense, don't immediately believe it. Wait for further validation. But that's huge. So 3,000 out of 20, that's what, 6,000, or excuse me, 6%. Math, Friday morning math. But that's a big deal. So again, I owed you some more about Bitcoin. Well, now it looks like it might have a better entry point. Dow's best month since 1987, which is when I started investing. Pretty cool. I think the month will finish strong unless, I really do. There's stimulus hopes out there. The vaccines are coming through, and I don't really see a big second wave negativity coming in. Okay. All right, that is, Disney's increasing layoffs. Yep. 2020 there, Jeremy Siegel, the professor, wrote several books out there. 2021 will be very good for stocks, but long-term returns could be below average. And I think that's setting expectations going forward. Is we've been on a let's clip along here at 20% a year kind of pace, and just don't expect that. Uh, there will be good years, there will be great years, and there will probably be bad years, but it won't be 20% a year like it has been. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look around at where the market has been. Look at a TD Ameritrade real quick. Let's go to the 1 year on the SPY. None of the new names are in the room this morning, so they're taking a Friday morning off, or they just don't know that the market's open. So here we are, getting pretty close to market highs, hanging out in that area, and then zoom in on the 5-day. Excuse me, 5-day. Past 3 days here have been pretty much a straight up, and you can see all the positivity in the future, which sets us up for a long day. And then there's our trading screen that we'll get back to here in a minute. All right, let's talk electronic arts first. Sony is the one I want to talk about first. So we will share back out to Google Chrome. Just going to pull up one of these to take a look at. And it will not be Snap, it will be Sony. Okay, so there's Sony. I mean, it's really ripping higher. Would I buy it here? No, but I've been buying it ever basically, since really mid-summerish, I think is when I started buying. I can't remember. But the whole PlayStation 5 and the fact that I couldn't get a hold of one, the fact I still don't have one, is an issue that, okay, the stock's probably poised to rip higher. So from an investor perspective, when you start buying something for a very reason, and then the stock sells off for nothing related to the reason you bought it, you simply hold and you wait for more, and you wait to see if your thesis plays out. And if I'm buying here saying I think the Christmas sales of the PlayStation 5 are going to be huge, I'm stuck in this name until basically January. Now, stuck in this case is good because we're making money in it. But also, if it starts working against you, like you might challenge your theme here a couple months where it sold off, it's like it has nothing to do with your theme. Your theme was Christmas, and that's why you bought it. So just because it sells off from August to November, it's a foreign firm, so maybe that's the concerns about Trump getting reelected and him taking him to more tariffs. Who knows what caused the sell-off? But you wait for your thesis, and the thesis is starting to play out. That markets anticipate the anticipations of others. So everybody, even though I was thinking it back here, certainly other people are thinking it now as Sony screams higher. So, all right, let's take a look at some other names in the space. Go over to Schwab, Street Smart Advisor, Edge, get rid of me. Okay, there's Sony in the upper left-hand corner. We have Activision, which is not Intel. It's Activision Blizzard, I think technically, is the ATVI that's sold off some. That might be a rotation out of it into Sony with the PlayStation 5. I don't know. But I would be more excited about entering ATVI here than I would be Sony. Take-Two Interactive is doing just fine. That's another big name out there. Electronic Arts has kind of been left for dead. So if they don't come up with every year they have their round of games, right? Well, Electronic Arts has not been keeping pace with everybody else, and they're starting to pay that price. So they need a blockbuster game or two to come out to remain competitive. I would not just blindly buy it here because it's the cheapest, because they might be, old video games instead of new ones. Tencent Holdings, video games only a portion of what they do. So that's kind of exciting because you have multiple ways to win with Tencent. And it's been in the news a little bit lately about doing some merger stuff. So I like that name, not just for video games, but I do like the video game exposure. And then when you look at esports, that's obviously been on fire for several years now. Take it back to, it's a double from way back, even though we had the blip back in March. And that's only going to continue. If you haven't seen the Luxor in Vegas, it's actually the esports arena now. They've turned this whole thing, if you've seen on TV, I mean, there's people showing up and buying tickets to watch other people play video games. Kind of crazy, but it is going on. All right, as far as let's take a look at our long is LCA. Speaking of gaming, this is the name we've been in for quite some time. They said by the end of November, they're going to switch from LCA to Golden Nugget Online Gaming. They got their official approval from New Jersey, which is what is down here. December 1 is a record date, so they set that. So that's why it's popping today. You can take that long. If it follows the DraftKings model, it'll be at 50 in about a month. I don't think I'm going to hang out in that name that long, but I certainly like it from a trading perspective. Okay, we have 1 minute, so we'll take a look at Work. Jumped yesterday 40% on the CRM merger. It's simply just selling off and gapping down. It has plenty of volume. And then Geos, I want to check the volume real quick before I switch screens. Geos Tech, no volume on it. We'll put it up there. We'd have to wait for volume to come in. Okay, let's switch over to our trading platform, and I'll need a second to get things set up. Got LCA long. We have Work short, and then we have Geos short. All right, get my tickers set up here and ready to go. All right, good morning. Welcome to the On Time, On Target, Morning Brief play of the day. We have about 5 seconds until the market opens, so you'll hear the bell here in a second. We are watching the SPY on this left-hand screen over here. There's the opening bell. We have LCA, which we're looking at long. It's already up 10%, so we'll need an entry point for that. For Work, down 5% off the big jump yesterday, so we'll focus in on those. And then Geos off to the right, that's a short. We need to wait for some volume to come in before we can hop in that name and go short. And can't remember the name, reason why Geos is the short. So, all right, long is going to be your play here in LCA, so get ready to take that. It's going to be a probably 30 cent stop down to 50. We're not going to get an entry here, I don't think. I like this. Let's switch short. We'll go 38.30 is our entry short there. Take Work short. I need a second. Switch my tickers here. We're in at 38.30 short. I'll give you your R here in a second. R is going to need to be all the way up to, we'll call it 38.90. So that's a 60 cent R. So again, we took this short. Get our arrow in here. We're already down by the 1 R point. So just hold that for right now. I only got about half of what I wanted at the for that entry there because I didn't have my screen set up because I was going long in LCA. Okay, it looks like a long in LCA would have worked too, but I like this short better in a Work. And that's not going to happen, so let's get rid of it. Okay, so 38.30, I'm an oddball math here, so 60 cents from that is 37.70. That's down here. We're at the 1 R point. So the next one would be 37.10, which is all the way off the screen, and then 36.50 will be our exit. If my math's right, we'll confirm that. So make sure you have that upper stop in. It is a very popular name, so you need to be ready to flip out of it if it works against us. I like the heart of the numbers, though. It's down in that 5 to 10%, and I don't know who's buying it today. This is all profit taking. So we'll see, but we'll keep an eye on it. Again, if something that moves that fast down, if you want to, put your stop here at the entry point so you don't lose money on a low volume Friday. I have no problem with that. I may do that myself after we watch it here for a second. But keeping true to the trade, we have again at 38.30, have our stop above the high of the day, that's 60 cents, and then we'll be looking for that to sell off. Okay, overall in the market, getting a little red there as far as the Dow is a little bit in the green, 0.2, NASDAQ's at 0.6, so tech names are going higher, and then the SPY is up at a 0.3. All right, keep an eye on your Work, though. Get your tickers set up in case this doesn't, quote, work, and we get flipped out of it, so get ready to buy it back. And not looking good here. So again, 38.90 above that high of the day. So if there's traders in here going short, then they'll hold. Otherwise, it's going out. There it is. So we are out of the trade. Again, market order out for me. There we go. Flat. So I'm out of the day. Down 1R. So again, no big deal. We had a good week already with a couple of nice trades early on in the week. I'll keep the screen up here for you, and we'll see how it ends up there for work. All right, Geos is selling off. This would have been a 10-cent. It's only moved about 1R. If we took it right away, we'd have about a 10-cent type move on the way down there. LCA went up. I think it'll probably end up higher than here. I wouldn't necessarily trade it today, but I'm not buying more because I've had it forever since $10 is basically the entry. So just kind of leaving that alone. We'll get rid of GS, look at some other names out there. IQ is in the news earlier today. It gapped down only about 4% on the news that there was some talk that Alibaba and Tencent Holdings were going to acquire IQ. Again, IQ is the Netflix of China. So there was talk, and then there's talk that it wasn't going to happen this morning. So that's why IQ is in play. Other long names out there. GameStop was in the news since we're talking about gaming. They gapped up earlier. So that's kind of holding. Don't know the particular headline in there. That would be a nice entry, though. If you were taking this long, you wait for it to sell off. It comes back up. You take it about 15.10, the 25-cent stop, maybe 15-cent stop here. So get a nice little move out of that. All right, let's look at some techs up. So let's look at a couple of popular names. Apple up 1%. That's good. Let's see what Amazon's doing. Up 1% basically. Tesla's been on fire. It continues to be on fire, up at 588. I do believe that's an all-time high. Let's see other EV names. NIO has been on fire, 55. We'll look at DraftKings since we've been talking about LCA long here. DraftKings direct competitor, so sold off at the open, now coming back. And we'll check in on Luck and Coffee. We haven't talked about Luck in a lot lately. Kind of hanging out around 470. I would like to see that above $5. Okay. Let's take a look real quick about what's going on with the rest of the investments. Palantir, how could I forget that? Let's look at the PLTR chart. It just continues rocketing higher. So man, look at that, up at 33. That is just insane. Remember, we were part of the direct listing at 10, and now it's at 33. So let's back out and look at a 5-day chart on Palantir. So that's what you're getting. Let's see, that would have been Wednesday. This is this red line is the weekend. So not quite a double this week in Palantir. So yes, I need to go in and sell some shares just to shave a little bit off. So 10-20%, put that in the pocket. LCA is up 10%. We talked about there. Moderna, that's the vaccine name. Nikola up a little bit. NIO's up. We talked about that. Those are options for DraftKings. DraftKings up almost 3%. Tesla off of new highs. Let's check that real quick. Yep, new highs for Tesla. Kind of crazy. People are still buying it here. Here's one we don't talk about often. PSTH is Pershing Square Tontine Holdings. That's the SPAC of Bill Ackman. So, he's an activist investor. He was the one that was crying on TV during the March sell-off, saying it's too risky. People have to get out of stocks. This is the big one. Cry, 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 like literal tears. He was on a phone call, but voice cracking, tears. World is ending. And then by the end of the phone call, he said, and that's why I'm buying stocks hand over fist right now. It's like, what? That's market manipulation 101 in my book, but he didn't get busted for it. Got some negative press, but good on him. He rolls on. All right, BNTX is BioNTech. Some of us have that as far as the vaccine play. And so a lot of names healthily into the green there. Let's see what's not working for us. Clickstream selling off a little bit. IQ we talked about already. PayPal, small sell-off. So PayPal and Square moved into Bitcoin and now allow, I guess, you to transact in Bitcoin. That's a rumor. I don't know, or that's a headline. I have not done it or, know anyone who has. But you've heard of the pizza guy who bought a pizza in New York or San Francisco for a Bitcoin, and they ended up paying, the equivalent of $1 million for that pizza or something by the time it all blew up. But so PayPal's on the way down. Square, that's again because of their Bitcoin exposure. Gold selling off. Coals, you'd expect coals to be up in a season like this where people are out and about. Shopify, online retailer, and a darn good one. All right, so a few names in the red, not that many out there. Okay, let's just check back on the charts over here. Yeah, Palantir up 14%. Keep running. All right. Well, work turned around and flipped. This is why you get out at the 1 hour point and say, okay, I was wrong. Yep. Don't stand around and be wrong forever, right? Because this thing's going higher for whatever's motivating it. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Again, if you want to check back at 10 o'clock, check into my social media. If you're on that or on any of my email list, stuff has gone out. And if you want to come back in, that's great. If you want to catch that on replay, it'll be on the YouTube channel as well. So with that, that's all I've got for you this morning. Thanks again for checking in. Enjoy your Friday. Remember, markets close at 1 p.m. Eastern today, so only a half day in the market. All right, we'll talk to you on Monday. Bye.